Hey there! Before we start today's episode, we wanted to alert you to our new product of the week.
Pow!
Pow! We have started WOLT Place, W-O-L-T Place. WOLT Place is a support group for women based on Facebook, and you can find out more about it if you head over to
weonlylookthin.com. Click on the link at the top of the page that says join our support group. We've got lots more information there.
Yeah, so join us if you want friendship, fellowship, and what's another F that they could get?
Fun!
Yay! So yeah, find out more. And here
now
goes
it's time to start the show.
Now it's time to start the show. Pow! Hello, and welcome to a superstitious episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I have lost 150 pounds. This is part of my podcast, and it is also part of Donald Weigel's podcast.
Hello! I am Donald Weigel, and I am full of superstition.
I feel like the best friend necklace, like it's part of my podcast and it's part of your podcast, and it's like a friendship necklace where there's like two parts.
We're each wearing half of it.
Yeah, we're each wearing half
of the podcast.
We're half of the podcast. But
half
he's
of the podcast.
Full of the inspiration.
Yeah, we're half of the podcast. We're full of inspiration. I am Donald Weigel, and I've lost a little over 100 pounds, and I'm here to tell you about it.
Hooray!
Guess what, darling?
What?
This is our 80th episode.
80?
Welcome to the 80s, everybody.
Whoop, whoop. Actually, vuvuzelas didn't exist back then.
They
what
didn't
did exist in the 80s?
There were headbands.
There were slap bracelets.
Leg warmers, slap bracelets. We are going to wear a slap bracelet, headbands, leg warmers for the next 10 episodes.
Pop your collar, because it's time for a Miami Vice episode of We Only Look Thin.
We're going to listen to Flock of Seagulls. We're going to watch Remington Steele and the A-Team.
Instead of saying that we're inspirations, we're Smurfy.
Yeah,
everything's Smurfy.
Everything is Smurfy. Catherine and I are Smurfy.
That doesn't. We're going to tell you about the facts of life. We're going to talk to you about Remington Steele.
Different strokes.
There are so many 80s things to talk about.
So many things for the next 10 episodes, including this one.
I remember when the 80s happened. At the time when I was wearing the neon and acid-washed things and the leg warmers, when all of that was happening, when I had sun in my hair.
Yeah.
I am a dark-haired person. Orange hair, sun in hair was not a good look for me. But I remember even at the time.
I think you should let us be the judge of that.
I think I have a picture.
Photos. I want photos.
Not good. I remember at the time thinking, these fashions will not repeat themselves. This is not something that anyone is going to go back to.
Oh my God. I was hardcore into it. The whole Miami Vice, like I bought somewhere, or my parents bought for me, a knockoff, like super knockoff. It was probably $20, like Don Johnson Miami Vice style white jacket that I would wear over a t-shirt.
I had a satin jacket with like a Hawaiian print on it that I popped the collar, and I used to go to Cotillion wearing it. I thought I was really cool.
I thought I looked completely like, I was going to swear.
Rad.
Completely rad. Yes, I looked completely.
You don't say rad on this podcast. No, you can't do it.
No, I was going
tubular.
I was going to say a swear, but I'm not going to do it. Yes, I look totally tubular.
Enough
80s talk, everyone. Let's get to it. We are going to have a tip of the week.
Cow!
And then we're going to talk about magical thinking, which is what the superstition thing.
Do you believe in magic?
Came in, yes. Do you believe in magic?
Dreamweaver.
Yeah.
Or was that the 70s?
I don't know.
I'm glad the 70s are behind
us.
Dreamweaver
was the 70s.
Nobody liked the 70s.
I think Do You Believe in Magic might have been the 80s. I don't know. It all runs together at a certain point.
We don't need to know.
Yeah. And then we have a product of the week.
Pow! It's a biggie.
It's a big product of the week. Stay tuned.
Could this product of the week change your life? Find out in about 40 minutes.
Yes, 40 if we're lucky.
Yeah, we're going to ramble.
If we finally get to the point. So, speaking of getting to the point, let's talk about our tip of the week.
Cow!
Oh, tip of the week to you, darling.
Tip of the week to you. I mean that in all sincerity. Tip of the week to you.
Thank you.
I don't know what that means.
That's a heartfelt tip of the week.
It is. So there we are. Now let's move on. No, I guess I have to tell you the actual tip of the week.
Yeah, you've got a little story to tell.
I have a story to tell. Tuck in, everybody, because here we go. So the tip of the week is, do not believe the interweb.
No.
Don't believe it.
Except for us. You can believe everything you see at weonlylookthin.com.
I want to, like, whenever I try to sell something, like on Craigslist or something, I want to be like, oh, here's a perfectly good blender that works. Definitely not haunted. Like, I want to like finish it all, like, because I think people are suspicious. Like, why are you selling that, like, Ninja, bullet mixer thing?
Yeah. And if you say it's definitely not haunted, then that
it legitimizes
all doubts. It erases all doubts about it being haunted.
I just always imagine, like, if someone is getting rid of something, that it's got to be suspicious. Like, what's wrong with it? It's obviously broken. Like, but saying it's not haunted.
No, I definitely I prefer eBay listings where the person is saying why they're getting rid of the perfectly good thing.
Yeah, because it does make sense. So we're going to tell you the story now that I told you I was going to tell you, and here it is. So we're weight loss moguls. Weight loss moguls,
weight loss tastemakers, internet influencers.
The other day on Instagram, I have a private Instagram account, and we have the We Only Look Thin Instagram account. My private one is mostly...
You must be rich. 2 Instagram accounts.
The private secret one is mostly pictures of coffee cups, because that's my true passion. But I think I included back in the day, a couple of weight loss pictures before we started We Only Look Thin. And anyway, I was on Instagram the other day. Somebody tagged me. And I said, oh, I have been tagged. I will check that out. And it ended up being a page on Instagram called Weight Loss Freaks, and they had tagged a before and after picture of me. And at first I thought, oh, maybe I'm an inspiration to someone.
Yeah.
Turns out that this Weight Loss Freaks Instagram account had about 54,000 followers. They had a whole page of before and after photos with people tagged, which legitimizes it. They tagged me. They're inspiring somebody. That's nice. Turns out they were stealing people's Instagram photos, tagging them in their photos, and their link in their bio was a 21-day detox, like lose all this weight, just like Catherine Weigel did.
Some scam shake thing.
Yeah, and they were selling a product and using my photo as their, like, see, be like her, lose weight fast, 10 pounds in 2 days. And I was upset about that, and I sent them a private message and said, please take my photo down and do not use it to sell your janky product.
And they said, oh, okay, we'll take it down. We're sorry for the inconvenience.
No, I posted on the image, this is my photo, please take it off. They blocked me.
And they blocked her.
They blocked me. They blocked me from the account. So they still had the at my Instagram name on the photo, which legitimizes it, right? We have 2 accounts. So I went and viewed it as We Only Look Thin. Follow us on Instagram, We Only Look Thin. And they were using my photo, and they blocked me. And it then dawned on me that all of the people who were, the 400 pictures or so that they had on it were all fake before and after photos.
Yeah, and it made it look like all of these people were using this detox to lose all of this weight instead of doing the work.
Yeah. So I maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like a weight loss transformation post came up, and it was, hey, try this program. And I saw that people were tagged in it, and I was like, oh, people are doing this fitness program, and obviously it's being tagged. But now I fell victim to it myself. And so the tip of the week is, just because you see something on the interweb does not mean it is true.
Yeah, and it's that old thing of, if a product appears to be too good to be true, it probably is, especially with weight loss. A lot of people are out there selling snake oil and calling it a weight loss miracle. And maybe some of these things are good, maybe some of these things have helped you, but just be careful and don't just assume that every person that's been tagged out there, especially in this day and age, boy, I sound old when I say this day and age, is legitimately using the product, because it's very easy to steal Instagram photos and make it look as if the person is using your product.
Yeah. And I mean, one suggestion would be to watermark your images. There are photo programs like Typorama. There's an app where you can actually watermark your images. And a lot of the photos were watermarked. So it looked like, oh, this is, at Beverly losing weight is using this product. And they're just stealing photos. They're photo mining and they're blocking people. So pay close attention. Don't just assume that what you're seeing is what you're getting. Unlike us, we're trustworthy. We're definitely good people. But we're not selling like a shake or a detox or whatever. So just be very cautious. And I must say, I got to give some shout outs, because I posted to the We Only Look Thin page and also to the Go Fit Yourself Facebook page, Murderino subgroup, about like, and I was just posting it to be like, hey, watch out for stuff like this. And like the storm of support that I received from the We Only Look Thin group and the Go Fit Yourself group, like there were like, the last time I looked, like 60 people had commented on the photo saying like, hey, you stole Catherine's photo. She would never use your product. Like, you're terrible people.
It's really great.
Like, I got super teary-eyed and just so grateful for all of the support that I got there. So having an army back me up, and it just like I felt really taken advantage of by the interweb.
They messed with the wrong weight loss guru.
They did. But the support that I received from these groups were just amazing. And for any of you out there who are in the group who supported me and had my back, I just so appreciate that. I felt really down that morning and really upset by it and taken advantage of. But as Mr. Rogers says, look for the helpers. And you guys were totally supportive and wonderful. And I'm not going to cry because I'm talking about Mr. Rogers. But thank you all so much. There's so many people to mention, but or too many people to mention. But anyway, I appreciate it. And question the interweb is the tip of the week.
And that is your tip of the week.
Tow!
Tow, everybody. Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
Now
Donald.
We're going to talk a little bit about magical thinking.
We really need some sound effects. Like, I want to do that, like, dream. Like, do we have a harp around that we can do, like, blue, 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 blue?
Yeah, we just have a harp around.
As you do.
Yeah.
A harp.
Yeah, it's under the bed.
There was, in the movie The Bishop's Wife, back in the day, Mr. Cary Grant, at one point he's playing the harp because he's supposed to be an angel, and they do like him sitting with the harp, and then it does like a close-up of his fingers, and it's definitely not his fingers.
Totally different hands.
Totally stunt hands. So we're stunt handing this episode, but we're talking about magical thinking. Donald, what is it?
Well, magical thinking is essentially the belief that your thoughts have an effect on the real world, and it sort of manifests itself most obviously in the world of sports. People will be like, "I have to wear my lucky shirt. I have to wear a particular pair of socks for my team to win." And, or people do these rituals where they'll put their terrible towels on the back of their couch because they believe it will actually influence the game.
A terrible towel is a Pittsburgh Steeler thing. It's not terrible. It's not something you use to dry yourself off with. It's just a towel you swing around at the stadium. But yeah, so it's all about...
No, that one's real, though. That one's real. Putting your terrible towel on the back of your couch for a game, that actually works.
That actually helps.
No, and it kind of... it manifests itself mostly in childhood. Like, you start to make these connections between, I was wearing a blue shirt when X, Y, or Z event happened, so it must have been my shirt. Or I was thinking about apples when something good happened to me. So if I think about apples, then that good thing will happen again.
Well, And on a larger scale, we, as children, grown-ups lie to us. Oh, this is what, before we go any farther, if you have children who are listening to this episode, you might want, not because of the swears or the rated R content, but just because we're going to talk about some dispelling of childhood joy.
So you might want to be some things that maybe young kids might not want to hear.
Yeah, so we'll give you a second. What should we talk about while people are getting their kids to go away?
Why don't you tell them the definition of magical thinking from Freud?
Freud, I will. All right, let's assume all the kids are gone. Now we can get honest, and this isn't even about swearing or sexy stuff. It's just magic is what we're talking about. So Freud actually was one of the founders of the magical thinking idea, where magical thinking is a defense mechanism against feeling helpless. It helps us make stories around why certain things happen. Like, when there was a meteor shower 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, people thought the gods were angry, and it was like there was a bigger story behind it.
Yeah.
And so we come up with ways to explain the unexplainable. And so this is where the kids aren't here, and this is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so we grow up being told about the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and Hanukkah Harry and Kwanzaa Quinn. I think I made that last one up. I'm not actually even sure if Hanukkah Harry's real. I just know it was the thing on Saturday Night Live.
An Alf that came from a different planet and now lives, or from Melmac. He came from Melmac, and he now lives with a family for some reason.
Everyone knows Alf came from Melmac.
And he eats cats for some reason. Because they have cats on Melmac.
So I think that I have done it. I certainly have done it. I think that when I became an adult, even if I didn't believe in those things anymore, I would still sort of pray to the weight loss fairy to just make me thin. And, I'm a good person. If you just made me thin, I would promise to be healthy and move forward with a healthy attitude and eat well and not make the same mistakes that I'm making all the time now. If you just would get me there. Yeah.
And we're told as kids, if you're on the good list or the bad list, the naughty list or the good list. And we have this sort of fictionalized, if you're good for the next 30 days, gifts will be imbued underneath a tree.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. It creates a magical time. It keeps us in check for a while. We think we're gonna be extra special good and eat all of our vegetables because we're gonna get a payoff.
There's probably hardly anyone out there who loves Christmas time more than me and loves the whole season and the whole thing. But taking that to the point of believing that I can bargain with some weight loss fairy to make me thin is harmful in the end.
Well, and as Donald was saying, we talking about the scale specifically, we bargain with ourselves for a whole week. I was good for 4 days out of 7. So that's like more good than bad. So I should be down on the scale. And it's math. It's not like you're not imbued by the weight fairy to be like, you were mostly good this week, so you're gonna be down.
I literally would be like, maybe not out loud, but talking to the scale in my head, being like, come on, just give me this one. Like, let me get on the scale this week and see some progress. I am a good person. I was good for 3 days this week. Like, I know that I ate whatever I wanted those other 4 days, but just please give me this one. And I swear that the following week I will do it, all 7 days if you just show me some weight loss progress.
Well, and going back to Freud and his defense mechanism against feeling helpless, I spent 41 years of my life feeling helpless regarding my weight, regarding my life circumstance, regarding my job, regarding my emotions and my boundaries. I was a victim to all of it. And being a passenger in my life and assuming that things were beyond my control was really dangerous. I'm doomed. It's too late. I'm over 40. I'll never get this. All of those thoughts manifest themselves. Like if I believe it's too late, then I just believe it's too late and I don't realize I'm going up the scale because I ate 6 donuts.
Yeah.
Like, which is what I used to do. And then I would just say it's not fair. When in reality, I just didn't put the habits in place.
Yeah, I mean, I did it for many, many years, and so I assume that many of you do the same thing, is that whole like I believe I deserve this, so why can't I just have it? You know, if I could just be thin overnight, then I would do the right thing moving forward. If I could just get there without having to do all the work, I would put in the work to stay there. And I could not find this. I searched the internet. Maybe somebody out there can help. I remember this story when I was younger.
Ooh, I like this one.
And I couldn't remember. I can't remember who the author was, but it was about a person who was given a magical guitar. And the magical guitar made them a fantastic player, but they didn't have the calluses that guitar players have, and they didn't have the training. And so they played the guitar and they sounded great for a little while, but then it actually ruined their fingers, and so they couldn't continue to play. And in the same story, a person got a magical pair of ballet slippers, and it made them a fantastic ballet dancer instantly, but they didn't have the stamina and the strength, and it ruined their legs. And and so they were given the gift of this dream, like, I can be a, fantastic ballet dancer, but their bodies actually couldn't handle the rigors of being a ballet dancer because they hadn't done the work. They hadn't trained.
Well, and I think that's a great analogy, Donald.
Why, thank you.
I was very happy when you told me that. But it's that we want the end result without the effort it takes to get there. We think that our lives will be perfect when we hit a certain, if we just magically snap our fingers and we get what we want. But as pretty much every TV show or movie or Christmas special has shown us, what we think we want usually isn't, what it's cracked up to be in the end.
Yeah. And look, if I had 4 years ago, if I had just been magically given my goal weight, if I had woken up and been in there like some sort of Tom Hanks in Big situation.
But Donald hasn't seen, by the way. I'm calling him out.
You don't have to shame me like that on the
I think it's really
podcast.
funny to talk about things we haven't seen before.
But if I just woke up and was magically there, I haven't put in the work. And so I wouldn't know how to maintain that weight. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have the habits in place. I wouldn't have done all of the tracking and all of the meal prep. I wouldn't have done all the experimenting that I've done. I've essentially been training for the last 3.5 years to maintain my weight. I've slowly been building the habits and slowly been putting in place the methods to continue to keep the weight off. And if I had just magically been there, I wouldn't have known what to do, and I would have gained it all back because I didn't have the habits and the practice in place.
Well, and I think, too, going back to that magical thinking of the, like, please let the scale be in my favor today. Like, yeah. Please, please, please. And that thinking that asking a higher power.
Yeah, and like your scale does not care. Like your scale just measures your weight. It doesn't care that you've, had a hard week or that you're stressed out or anything. It just measures your weight. That's all it does.
What you deserve or what you don't deserve. And I think, I definitely for years, and we do this, some magical thinking can be healthy. If you believe that what was it you had, like, when you woke up and you were like 4 years old and you thought you were going to be fast?
Oh, yeah. I was 3 years old and I turned 4 and I woke up and this is one of my earliest childhood memories. I woke up on my 4th birthday and I thought, oh man, I'm 4 years old now. I must be significantly faster than I was when I was 3. And I went outside and I ran as fast as I could. And I think I convinced myself that yes, indeed, I was in fact faster now that I was 4 instead of 3.
Well, and I had going back to the 80s, I had my kangaroo shoes. I had my zips. The kangaroo shoes had like a little Velcro thing and then a little pocket, which you couldn't put anything in it, but it was just
so cool.
You just had a pocket.
I wanted those kangaroo shoes.
And then zips were like the fast shoes. And it's like you look to this external thing to imbue you with power. And like suddenly I'm 4. I've crossed a threshold.
I used to think new sneakers made me faster.
Oh yeah, no, they do. They definitely do.
No, it's still true.
But it's that fake force field, that Arizona force field of like,
right.
If I pass age 40, it's too late. If I'm suddenly age 13, suddenly I'm a grown up.
Yeah, we have an episode of this podcast called Arizona Force Field or something
Imaginary
like that. Imaginary Arizona Force Field. That's all about this topic. If you want to go back and listen to that, I'll put a link in the show notes. But we tell ourselves that there's this magical barrier that will happen when really it is about putting in the work. And you were talking earlier about a job interview.
Yeah, I was. And Donald kind of said this a minute ago, but imagine where you are right now, whatever weight you're at. Imagine the weight you want to be. So let's say, like for me, I have about 8 more pounds that I want to lose. Okay, so imagine that your desired weight is your dream job. That there is a job posting on LinkedIn, and it's your goal weight. And you look at the job qualifications for your goal weight, for your dream job, and you are not qualified for that dream job. Your dream weight, your dream job is you need to pre-track your food. You need activity every day.
Yeah.
You need ample sleep. You need water instead of sugary beverages. You need moderation on treats. You need to abstain from certain treats. All of those habits are the qualification for that job.
Yeah,
for
you
that
need to
goal
work
weight.
all of these things into your life. You need to be able to do all of those things, and you're just not qualified. You don't have the experience. You don't have the degree that's necessary for the job. You don't have the skills that the job posting is looking for.
Well, and going back to the bargaining with the higher power, if only I woke up tomorrow at my goal weight, I promise I would be good. I promise that I would maintain that weight. But you don't know how to do that. And those job qualifications, those habits are what you need to do to get there. And the reason we don't wake up with a dream job when we're barely out of the mailroom is because we don't have the acumen. We don't have the habits in place. We don't have the grit and the effort it takes to get there. And just asking yourself right now, if you woke up tomorrow at your goal weight, how quickly would you go back to the weight you are right now? Because if you don't have the habits in place, if you don't have the skills in place, if you don't have the grit and the repetition of boring habits in place, you are going to lose that job. You are going to lose that weight because it's not a magical number. It's an effort number.
Yeah. And look, even if it's not your dream job, chances are that the job you have now, chances are you didn't just wake up and were good at it.
Are you talking about a metaphorical job or an actual job?
No, an actual job that you have now. Chances are that your actual job that you have right now, you didn't just like graduate high school and you were suddenly good at it, or graduate college and you were suddenly good at it. Like, you had to be trained at that job and you had to do it for years until you got to be as good as you are right now. You didn't just magically wake up and get it. But chances are, if you've been doing it for a long time, that you've gotten really good at it. But it took all of those years of practice and learning the job and being in it to really get good at it.
Well, and you're not, I remember, when I first started working, there were some gaffes that I made in my job where people would be like, oh my gosh, Catherine, you can't do that. Like, oh, we don't do that in business. And it's embarrassing because, we want to think that we've got it all together.
Yeah.
But it takes...
Especially fresh out of college when I was that age.
No, I remember, I know it's silly, but when I started working and I was like organizing files on the floor, and my boss came over and was like, you cannot sit on the floor. Like, you are not you're not in high school. This is an actual business place and you've got to sit at a table if you're going to organize. And it's embarrassing. Like, you want to be great at it. But the truth is, it takes practice. It takes scientific experimentation in terms of your weight, like what's going to work, what isn't going to work, what's your plan. And that dream job is not like wishing for it doesn't make it so. That dream weight, wishing for it doesn't make it so. It's not luck. It's not, fortune. It's not being good on the good list or the bad list. It's about boring habits day after day to get you there and earning your place at that weight.
But here's the thing, and here's the good news.
Wait, there's good, but wait, there's more.
The good news is that you are capable of great things, and you are capable of doing this. Think about all of the things that you've accomplished in your life that and that you're really good at now that at one point in time you were not good at and that you weren't able to do, but you put in the practice and you became good at it. Whether it's the job you have right now or some recreational activity or a musical instrument
or being a parent
or even if it's playing video game, like when you first started, you couldn't do it and now you're a master. Think about all the things that you have been able to do that you were a disaster at the beginning. You can learn losing weight in the same fashion and eventually get there.
Well, and I think, too, we can be jealous of someone else's assumed success. Like a friend of ours, their daughter just graduated from a prestigious university. And I was like, oh, wow, those 4 years went by fast. It's like, I didn't have to do any of the work.
Right.
Oh, it sure does go fast when you don't do the work. But we see other people and we see their success. And we think that it's magic, that suddenly they woke up one day and that they were capable and strong. And it turns out we don't see the effort that goes behind things. We don't see the effort behind the CEO, but behind the job that is, out of our reach. We just see it as, wow, must be nice to have that. And there's actually someone in our accountability group who posted photos. She's competing in a fitness event and she looks amazing. I'm just going to say her name. Her name is Lee.
Hi, Lee.
I won't. But anyway, she posted photos and she looks fantastic, like total goals. I don't even know why she thinks I'm an inspiration because she's like way goals for me. And, but I'm very grateful that she's part of the group. But to the untrained eye, it just looks like she's posting braggy photos of her amazing physique. And what we don't see is the 2 years of training that she has done to get in the physical shape that she's in, and the weight that she's lost, and the discipline and the sacrifice and the practice and the failure that she has gone through to get where she is.
Well, and that goes for Catherine and I too. We didn't just wake up and suddenly know how to lose 100 pounds. It took years, and I'm still working on it. I'm still experimenting on it and still finding new ways to keep the weight off that I didn't know 4 years ago when I started. And, more good news, nobody was more lost than Catherine and I were. Like, seriously, there was nobody who was even more clueless on how to do this. But we figured it out. And if we can, you can too.
He was a loser and then he became a loser.
Agreed. Exactly.
Same word used two ways.
And before we close it out, I also wanted to talk about kind of the flip side of magical thinking, which is believing that you are cursed. And that is the notion that you got some magical force out there working against you to keep you from achieving your weight loss goal. Oh my goodness, I just can't get it together because everything is conspiring against me.
Yeah, I'm doomed. It's too late, like that force field. I'm over 40. I found out, fun fact, I'm reading a book about Mr. Rogers, Mr. Frederick Rogers. He did not start Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood until he was 41 years old.
Wow. That seems unbelievable to me.
Like it just seems as though he was planted and then it just happened. Like
right.
Yada yada, he grew up and now he's Mr. Rogers. But he was 41 before he hit that like magical milestone and all the effort. We don't see all of it, all of what it took to become him.
Yeah.
We just think he was it. But 41, like, we still have time. I didn't start losing weight until I was 41. I'm basically Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, and I was 45, 6, 7 in there.
I don't remember.
I can't do math right now. But I used to think that I was cursed, that there was some magical force working against me. And really it was just that I was not prioritizing my weight and not really putting in the work that I needed to do to get it done.
Stinkin' thinking, which we talked about on our recent episode.
I was not Chopin. I was not getting it done. And I have since become a person who realizes that there is no weight loss curse. I just had to put in the work to do it.
So on a final note, like, what do you do with all this information? Ask me that.
What do you do with all this information?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh.
It's so organic.
Yeah, I ask things.
What I would ask you to do is, with all of this information, make a job description for the weight that you want to be
Ooh,
for the life,
I like this.
for the life that you want. What are the qualifications for that weight? What do you imagine that looks like? And then compare that to the life you're leading today. And then ask yourself, what are you willing to do to get that job? Like, are you willing, if the job, this is an actual job.
Yeah.
The job requires 3 years of experience. You need to know how to do Word. You need to know Excel. You need to be a people person. You need a master's degree. You need, qualification X. That sounds like really fancy. Qualification X. Ask yourself if you're willing to do the work that would get you that position. Are you willing to track your food? Are you willing to abstain from sweets in your house and only have them on occasions? Are you willing to get in 10 minutes of physical activity a day? Are you willing to set boundaries with others to make yourself a priority? Because that's all it is. It's a job description for a job that you're either qualified for or you're not. And 4 years ago, I did not know that I would have this job.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know that I would be an inspiration. But like,
I never dreamed I would have this job 4 years ago.
No, all I knew was that I wasn't going to give up. And I think that is the first job qualification. Like, you have got to believe that there is no finish line, that there is no end to this, and that your job is to improve your life, to grow old, being able to move and to stand and to sit and to not, take medications for myriad illnesses.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't about vanity. This is about securing your place, getting your tenure in health, because it is so worth it. And
absolutely.
And building up to it and deciding what you're willing to take on matters, and you matter, and your health matters. So we believe in you.
We certainly do believe in you. And speaking of believing in you, I think that takes us to our product of the week.
Pow!
Everybody. I know that we teased this product of the week something like 6 or 7 months ago, but it is really happening. We are getting ready. I don't know when you're listening to this, but August 1st, 2019, we are officially launching WOLT Place. We Only Look Thin Place.
Yes, it is a private, subscription-based accountability group based on Facebook. It is going to be women only. We've worked
fellas.
Sorry, my guys. But guys just don't participate. Like, we've had a free accountability group that we've been running for about 18 months.
Something like that.
And guys just don't participate.
Yeah,
so,
we've had a few guys in the group and they just don't do anything. So plus, we really feel like it's a safe space for women. I think that women get self-conscious about talking about their weight if there are guys around, and so I'm not even going to participate. This will be women only.
It's all Catherine all the time. So we are going to post about it on Facebook and on our weonlylookthin.com page. But basically, it's a private, subscription-based, which means paid, accountability group with daily check-ins, accountability, like habit posting, challenges, places to put your weight, your food check-ins. We've been hosting a group for the last 18 months, and it's become a safe place, a safe corner of the internet for people to share all of their lives while working on themselves. Whatever plan you're doing, it's not a 21-day fix. It's not a meal plan. It's just a place to check in, be honest, be vulnerable, and be supported by women just like you.
Yeah, there are women out there going through the exact same things that you are. And if you're struggling, chances are they've struggled too. And, it's a place for you to help each other go through these things and learn from each other's experience and express your frustrations and not be judged by it. And, Catherine is there to answer questions, and you've got 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to the group. And, so that you don't have to wait for that weekly meeting, in person to be able to do this, or you don't have to wait for your session with your trainer. It's there all the time.
Yeah, and I'll post more about it soon. And I know we've talked about it over the years, but I spent decades trying quick fixes and going to weight loss meetings, going to Weight Watchers, and sitting in meetings silently as people were asking about point values for things, just wishing I had a place to find out about my secret eating or to talk about it and to really dive deep into the reasons we overeat. And WOLT Place is a place to be really honest about your journey and be supported by other women. We're going to do live monthly videos, video check-ins, webinars. We're going to do habit challenges, food challenges, just lots of different things. So we'll post more about it on the Facebook page for We Only Look Thin.
Yeah, I'll have a link in the show notes to this. You can find out more on our Facebook page at We Only Look Thin. Go to weonlylookthin.com. There'll be information there. If you have questions, you can reach us at weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
And this won't be right for everyone, and we totally understand that. But if, we've been doing it for 18 months, and we have a group of amazing women who are working on themselves, and it feels really great to have a safe space that's all your own, to work on yourself away from your family or judgmental coworkers. And so join us at WOLT Place. We'd love to have you.
We would love to have you. If you would like to have more information about our show, you can listen to all our episodes wherever you found this one. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can listen on our website, weonlylookthin.com.
You can find us on Instagram, where we will not be selling detox teas.
No, we definitely will not.
We will not. The photos are real, and they're ours. And it's Instagram at We Only Look Thin, Twitter at We Only Look Thin, Facebook, We Only Look Thin.
All of those things. Oh, and we forgot to say POW! That was your product of the week.
POW! It has been a long time coming, and we're super crazy excited.
I don't want anyone to feel like they were ripped off by not getting that final POW in the episode.
Dear sir or madam, I did not receive my second POW.
I would love a
strongly worded letter
like that. Oh my God, that would be so good.
It would.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you got something out of this and you feel like somebody else in your life would get something out of it too, please reach out and tell the person about the show. We really appreciate that. If you could also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, we would really genuinely appreciate that.
Yeah, and we read every single one. Unfortunately, on Apple Podcasts, you can't respond to people's comments, but we've gotten so many amazing posts, and we read every single one of them, and we so appreciate all of the support, because it definitely keeps us going in this crazy world of podcasting. So
yes, indeed. Thank you so much. So if you are trying to think about something magical in your life, just remember that Catherine and I are
an inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.